सेल्सफोर्स टाटा कंज्यूमर प्रोडक्ट्स लिमिटेड के लिए डिजिटल परिवर्तन को गति देगा। वितरकों को शामिल करने का समय कुछ दिनों से घटकर कुछ मिनटों का रह गया, जिससे खुदरा विस्तार में उल्लेखनीय वृद्धि हुई। मुंबई, भारत 23 अक्टूबर 2024। सेल्सफोर्स ने आज अपनी डिजिटल परिवर्तन यात्रा को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए एक प्रमुख फास्ट मूविंग कंज्यूमर गुड्स कंपनी टाटा कंज्यूमर प्रोडक्ट्स लिमिटेड (TCPL) के साथ रणनीतिक सहयोग की घोषणा की। इस अगली पीढ़ी के गो टू मार्केट (GTM) प्लेटफॉर्म का लॉन्च TCPL के बिक्री और वितरण संचालन में उल्लेखनीय गति और दक्षता के साथ क्रांतिकारी बदलाव ला रहा है। TCPL द्वारा सेल्सफोर्स सेल्स क्लाउड, सर्विस क्लाउड प्लेटफॉर्म म्यूलसॉफ्ट को लागू करने का निर्णय ग्राहक अनुभव को बेहतर बनाने के लिए उन्नत तकनीक का लाभ उठाते हुए डिजिटल प्रथम डेटा संचालित संगठन में बदलने के अपने दृष्टिकोण के अनुरूप है। म्यूलसॉफ्ट ने TCPL को बड़े पैमाने पर प्रदर्शन और स्थिरता प्रदान करते हुए सिस्टम में विशाल एकीकरण के सरलीकरण के माध्यम से डेटा की पूरी क्षमता का दोहन करने में सक्षम बनाया है। सेल्सफोर्स की उन्नत डेटा प्रबंधन और आई क्षमताओं का लाभ उठाते हुए TCPL ने उल्लेखनीय गति और दक्षता के साथ अपने डिजिटल परिवर्तन को गति दी है। प्लेटफॉर्म का विकास और परिनियोजन 4 महीनों के भीतर 3000 से अधिक वितरकों के लिए एक राष्ट्रव्यापी रोलआउट द्वारा संचालित किया गया था।
So intuitive, and like Swami always says, consumer grade UX. I think that's a huge difference in the speed at which it got rolled out without a lot of fuss.
Great. And is there this happened at the retail store outlet, so that when the sales happen, is it immediately reflected? And if it is reflected, then you already know that this is the kind of stock that has been sold out and the trends. And do you also use AI for predicting what kind of things that are going to be required based on the geography of that particular area?
So AI is a broader science, right? So we leverage ML within Salesforce. So what is the multiple levels that we actually use it? One part of your question, is it real time? It's real time, so today we can pull out and actually find till the last invoice that's being billed a second before. So it's available on our handheld. So that's the real time part of it. Now what happens to the 9,000 odd sales folks? For them, we've got a recommendation engine. So the recommendation engine looks at what they've historically sold at the outlet, what is sold in similar outlets in the same area, and there's always a potential to say, oh, okay, in the same area this particular product sells, Sampan sells here in the neighborhood store. So maybe, there's an opportunity for you to put Sampan on this store's shelves. So that's where the recommendation engine that we have, which is an ML-based recommendation engine, is enabled on the handheld. Elsewhere, we leverage all of this data for a lot of ML-based analytics behind the scenes. But then this is what we've enabled as ML at the edge Salesforce.
Can I just request everybody limit to one question? We have a lot of people here, so let's go one question.
But one thing, remember, the way this is implemented, they would be able to unlock the AI features as and when they want. So it's not something like as these AI, waves of AI come in, they are completely aligned with opening those features as they want, not having to rebuild anything all over again. Okay? So this is completely, because it's a platform, as Sunil said, this is completely ready to go with any of the AI features that you would wish to.
I'll just add to that. So go back to what Sunil said is why we chose a platform versus trying to build or go for an out-of-the-box product. For us, at any point of time, we do not want to write AI algorithms from scratch. We're not a software company. We're a consumer company which want to be really out there in the top, making sure we have really good sales. So for us, we needed a platform that's got a lot of modules that we can leverage whenever we want. And that's where with Salesforce, we could just unlock features as and when we wanted and start leveraging. So that's the way we are operating. And that's what is giving us the speed to market in terms of innovating how we do business on the ground.
Hi, my name is Noor. I'm from Business World in India.
So for us, the platform is a well-tested cloud platform that's got all the security built in. One of the things that happen, and we've got a separate cybersecurity practice within TCPL. So any of the custom applications that go in, this immense amount of testing that we do before it hits the market. Because today,
So today, the amount of cyber incidents that are happening are on the increase. One of the reasons why we chose a platform, and we're a company that's 100% in cloud, and we believe in reason we chose Salesforce is also because it's 100% cloud. All the cyber security peripheries are completely taken care of. There is consistent, constant testing that happens at the Salesforce end. So that we as a business focus more on what it means to our sales workforce. Are we unlocking business value? Is it helping our top line, bottom line? Which is where our focus is. So we have constant reviews where we look at the platform, the uptime, like we said, 100% uptime. It's not 99.9, it's 100% uptime. And similarly, cyber is concerned, I don't know the number, maybe Arun, you can articulate the number. It's running for millions and millions of users across the world. All of them behind a cyber wall that they have built. So that's the way we look at it. You want to take on that?
Sure. I think, unfortunately, I can't talk specific numbers. Think about it this way: whether you're the National Security Agency in the US or you're my favorite Myra Bakery down the street in Bangalore, we have one version of the software. The beauty about SaaS is that there's not 10 different versions that today TCPL has deployed it that tomorrow they have to worry about upgrading. Thrice a year, we deliver updates to our platform. Swami won't even know. He wakes up one day, which is going to happen soon, and he'll know the latest version is out, and here's 25 more things he can do with the platform, fully tested for security, for compliance and everything. So our goal has been from day one that trust is our number one value. Customers like TCPL are trusting us with their data, their customer data, right? And so we don't own any of it, but we make sure that we secure it. And so the amount of money, people that we invest to make sure that trust is absolutely upheld, it's just I wish I can give you some anecdotes, but you should assume that for a $38 billion company, it's not a small amount of money and resources that we throw at that problem. I'll let ma'am talk about the sustainability one, very close to it.
Let's see, there are two things that we really spend money on, okay? One is security and the other is innovation, all right? And that's something, that's a strength that Salesforce has, and probably it has the ability to do that on account of the fact, that our revenues are pretty robust. On the trust piece, just one added thing is, when you look at our AI stack, one of the reasons we came to the Copilot stage a little later than maybe the rest of the market was because we were very keen on ensuring that the trust layer that we built into the AI stack is something that really delivers. What does the trust layer do? The trust layer does 3 or 4 very important things. One thing is it ensures that your data is not being used to train the model. So your data remains your own, it does not go anywhere. The second thing it does is it weeds out bias, it weeds out toxicity, and very importantly weeds out hallucinations. As long as you are pointing to data stacks that are trusted by you, and not asking it to scrape the whole worldwide internet, okay? That you are pointing out to trusted data sources, whether inside or outside. All of these will get taken care of by the trust layer. And this is part of the AI stack that we have, okay? Regarding sustainability, again, sustainability is something that we are very worried about. And you all have heard about the carbon footprint of AI. That there is a lot of compute power storage, a lot of cooling that will be required, all of that. Now the reason, because of that, what we are working on is to see how we can make even smaller models. Models that really answer your question instead of having to go through everything. So there is a lot of research going on in order to see that this is not only reducing your carbon footprint, but also making it available to the much smaller players. At the end of the day, we also need to make it available to one and all in order for it to be sustainable and for everybody to have the ability to access what is actually a very, very advanced technology. So to that extent, again, we have an Office of Sustainability separately that looks purely at just this, because we want to ensure that whenever we are giving you something, we are not asking you to do something which is not sustainable. At the end of the day, we want to leave more resources for our future generation rather than borrow from them and leave them, with a deficit. So yeah, that is very much at the core of everything we do.
Just to close on the sustainability, we're a net zero company 3 years back, so this is something that we're very, very committed to. And by the way, that's a career banker talking technology here. So I always get my own thing when she goes off on this topic.
So this is Ben from the New Leaders Press. With the so like I said, for me, ultimately everything has to translate either into revenue improvement or cost decrease. Right? I keep saying rest everything is a hobby. On this one, it contributes to both, and I'll tell you why. Right? If that salesman sells, like the recommendation engine in that outlet sells this SKU which was not there, which is not there, is being sold in some other store, and helps the salesman. Remember, the salesman is a 10th standard pass or a 12th standard pass in that outlet. He's not the most intelligent person in my system. So this intelligence is what powers saying, why don't you push that SKU, number one. Number two, like I said, promotions. Given my range of categories and the number of SKUs and the promotions running, difficult to remember. This system remembers, and this system prods saying, why don't you push one more. Number three is real-time tracking in terms of which are the outlets which have not bought for the month. Right, unbilled outlets, on a real time the salesman gets to this thing. He's positively motivated when he looks up every day morning and sees this much to go, he's earned this much incentive, he can cross the next slab. So pushing up the revenue is reality. That's number one. Number two, on the cost aspect, now I have a real time geotagging of all the outlets around, so I can optimize my routes much more. Number one. Number two is my promotions. Since I have everything real-time coded, I can move it up and down to make sure it is efficient, whatever I'm spending. So I can go on and on a list of 25 different things because of real-time availability.
So quantify that. What is the benefit that you're looking at?
In terms of rupees and cents?
No, in terms of revenue or in terms of cost. What is the benefit?
So let me just leave you with whatever we have spent on Salesforce. There is a business case which gives me an ample enough return on the investment.
You don't want to quantify that.
No, this is because you are not made public.
Quantify from the sales point of view, the revenue point of view.
So this is figures which you have not made public, right? So, but let me just say the business case works for us. Question, I leave it out for now. I can answer it separately because that doesn't pertain to Salesforce and Mavic, right? Now, as regards what does Mavic do for increasing distribution, very clearly when we said we are going to do two things this year. Number one, in the metro cities, we are splitting the salesmen to give them more focus by category, right? So, for example, in the large cities, 1 million plus and select 500,000 plus cities, I have 3 salesmen. Earlier it used to be 1 till a year back. Now they have 3 separate salesmen, one only focused on tea and organic India, second one is focused on salt and sampan, and the third one is on capital foods and soul food, right? So there is ultimately bandwidth release happening at the front end because limited number of variables out there. So that was in the urban areas where we wanted to increase depth in the outlet. In the semi-urban and rural, we wanted to increase width of distribution. What we have done is, in the larger urban towns up to 50,000 population, we've got distributors. What does a distributor mean? It's exclusive, salesman, inventory, promotion, etc., etc. Below that, where my volumes are still not there, we've appointed sub-distributors. Now, like we said, there is close to around 9,000 sub-distributors which were appointed, going up to about 10,000 population. These are serviced by super stockists. So there is a separate module for Mavic to the super stockists and to the sub-distributors. Appointing 9,000 sub-distributors happened probably in a 4 or 5 month period, and the speed at which you can add on a Mavic is, it helps, that's number one. And number two, Mavic is real time, rest everything that we can do at a super stockist level, super stockist and sub-distributor level.
Sir, I know you don't give for
Number has got nothing to do with Mavic. Mavic just makes it more efficient and more optimal to this thing. I will appoint distributors anyways. What Mavic allows me to do is leverage the data that comes out from real-time sales to make informed decisions, which will then fuel the numbers still better.
any numbers, sir, on the distribution network?
A distribution network, we've said already that all 50,000 population we've covered. We're now looking to cover all 20,000 population plus with sub-distributors.
First things first, Agent Force is 1 month old. So obviously we couldn't have conceived something 9 months back or 12 months back when we started. When we started, the principle was very simple, that the platform had to be AI enabled, right? So there's a lot of AI in the system today, the predictive piece and everything else. We're working with TCPL on bringing the next generation of data and Agent Force together. We're in advanced stages where we have production pilots currently working, and so I think you should expect that we will soon talk about that as well. But like Arundhati said, this is not like we have to redo everything that we did. We are now simply bolting on the latest capabilities that are coming on into this platform, right? So hopefully that answers whether it's Agent Force or not.
Currently it's not.
Yeah, so that's the answer. Just went wrong the way. On the issue of first in general trade, I think at this scale, never been done, to my knowledge, right? Again, I could be wrong if somebody somewhere in some corner of LATAM has done it, or because general trade is generally in 3 regions. It's LATAM, it's Africa, it's India, and some parts of Southeast Asia, right? The rest of the world is mostly modern trade. But at this scale, to my knowledge, it's not been done, and definitely not done at the speed at which this was executed. So hopefully that answers the questions.
Sure. This is very difficult to talk about right now, because at this point of time, as I said, it's just gone live, right? And we have to find mature companies like these where it can, immediately start where they can immediately start looking at it. So at this point of time, I don't want to talk numbers, but the only thing that I'd like to tell you is that wherever we have gone and wherever we have shown them what it can do, there's been a lot of excitement. And again, this is my own personal experience. When I first saw the demo of Agent Force myself in Dreamforce this time, I almost felt like, what a handloom worker must have felt if they visited one of the textile mills of Mumbai when it first started. Or when a villager saw the first steam engine, huffing and puffing across the landscape. I had a similar kind of feeling. It's strange, that feeling. It's very exciting. It gives you a little bit of anxiety and fear, but it's also like, it's wondrous that, that something like this can happen. And I would say that we are in that transition moment in technology, when we are really taking a quantum leap from one end from one stage to another. Having said that, how much will it actually translate to in rupee terms or dollar terms? It's still out there, we don't really know.
Hello?
So, like we said, we had an out-of-the-box system. For us, business was running. It's not that the business was running, but we did not have a system. But for us to really move the agenda forward in terms of our growth, we needed more real-time data throughout happening. If it's happening right there in a particular market in the remote parts of India, we needed real-time data so that we could do the analysis. And across our ecosystem, the speed at which our sales team can execute, be it be onboarding a distributor, be it be onboarding an outlet, like my boss says, salespeople have to focus on doing sales, because the systems that we had earlier had so much challenges that it made life very difficult for them to leverage. The expectation is not for them to learn technology. The expectation for them is technology should be transparent, that it allows them to make their job easy. And with the entire AI wave, how data is being leveraged and the speed at which decisions can be taken, we are very clear that we need an absolute modern platform that we can bank on which we can build our future tech stack. So these were for us very critical selection criteria. Not that we didn't have a system, but this really means saying we have to make a decision and we have to do it. That's what made this decision.
So let me give you some examples, right? If you needed to make a change in our earlier system, right, it would be about 15-20 days, because there was a set of engineers sitting, I won't name the city because you would go there and then they will do a beta test and they will run this thing and then they will come and implement. And I would say 1 out of 10 times, the new system that is implemented has created a clog in my system. And then for a couple of days, the system is down, right? They come out, I ask them to improve a certain version, then again they run this thing 15, 20 days, then they come in and run it, and again my system is down. Can't afford that. And I told you we've never had any downtime. It was not 99.9, it was absolutely 100% uptime on a system. That's number one. Number two, if I want to make changes like that, I don't have to touch the base, it's a platform. I just plug and play with APIs, number two. Number three, all these fancy jargon which you hear, right? AI, retailer ordering, WhatsApp ordering. I used to keep on asking Swami, why the hell can't we do it? He said, boss, you're driving a 1950 car, you're not going to be able to do this, right? So we needed to change absolutely to keep up. We would have fallen further and further behind if we had not done this.
And you're talking monolithic at that time, or you were doing microservices?
Monolithic. It was monolithic
That's
earlier.
right.
Earlier.
Ah, okay.
Now it's all on microservices.
Hi, Shilpa here from.
I'll put it in this way. This system has a real life impact on two people in the chain, right? Distributor and retailer, both of them. The reason for the distributor is now I have real-time data on his sales, and therefore now I have the ability to do my entire order processing for the distributor centralized, and I do it through an automatic reorder system where refresher system where neither the salesman nor the distributor, we just agree with the distributor norms for inventory, whether it is a new product which is getting ordered or a replacement which is getting ordered, it is auto.
Yeah.
And after that he has to just plus and minus, which means he has surety of his own return on investment, right? Because his inventories are not going up and down, so stuff is, we are not ordering what won't sell, etc., etc. So that's for the distributor. For the retailer, very simple. I mean, going back to what was described, right? Whether it is the system prompting to add one more item or two more items to avail of an extra discount, right? That's number one. Or telling the retailer saying, you know, in a similar profile outlet just 100 meters down the street, there are these two products which are doing well. That's number two. Or number three, when we have new product introductions, right? Because the salesman is, remember, selling 50 things, he forgets the 51st, right? And if we do together, then 51 and 52 are forgotten, right? Or one is remembered. Remembering that and prompting, saying, do this. Or if we run a quantity purchase scheme, the retailer doesn't have to keep a track, the system keeps a track. So every time my salesman goes in, he tells him. So that's from a salesman's perspective. Now from a retailer himself perspective, like I said, we're going to introduce WhatsApp capability on this one. And therefore a retailer app to real time know what are the promotions running around, etc., running out of stock, you want to order, or there is a promo you've forgotten to this thing. So whatever I have in my system will be real time visible to the retailer.
How many languages?
Pretty much all languages in India, but we've enabled it for 5 key languages. And again, most of our training videos that are built into the app are also catered to these languages.
Are you also using it for your CSR initiatives?
When you say using it, what are you referring to?
Salesforce. We are also doing
Okay.
non-profit.
So we have something called the 111 pledge. Have you heard of it before? Okay, so in 1999, when Mark Benioff started the company and we didn't have a single cent of revenue, we made this pledge that we will give 1% of our profits when we have nothing, 1% of our time, which was a few people in those days, and 1% of our software as part of our pledge. This pledge has become so popular now. There are 12,000 organizations around the world.
17,000.
Sorry, 70,000.
So it's a one by one club now.
70,000 companies around the world have joined this pledge. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think just in terms of raw numbers, I think we've contributed more than close to 700 million, I think is the number that we've given away. And like I said, this was not done after we became a very profitable $1 billion company. This was made when this pledge was made by our founder and CEO well before, you know, we even had $1 of revenue. And so to your answer, there are thousands of organizations, NGOs around the world that are powered by Salesforce. And that's a, you know, that's a contribution that we make back to the communities that we live in.
There's a separate org, it's called .org, where these are housed, these licenses. So these are given to the non-profit. 1% of all our licenses go to the non-profit sector.
Thank you.
textile mill, this thing, example, just wanted to say, what I'm wearing today is all from handloom workers. So it's not as though they have gone out of fashion or they have lost their livelihood. They coexist and they sort of feed into each other. So at that point of time, we probably got clothes only once a year. Now we get them almost every week, but both are coexisting. So this little bit of fear that is always there when such changes happen, my only request is you all look at it from that angle, that it is going to improve standards of living, it is going to improve productivity and efficiencies for companies like this, and for the users, for us, it will make our standard of living better because the services will become much, much better. So to that extent, there is that excitement that this is something that's really going to make a contribution to improving all of our lives even more. Okay.